Hello, hello. I think we're live.
Are we live on Facebook? Okay, yeah, we are.
We are.
Where's the camera? Oh. Hi.
Hello, hello. Good evening. It's 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Thanks for being here. Looks like we have a whole lot of attendees.
Exciting.
Yeah.
It's an exciting night.
Why?
Well, because we have so much stuff to talk about.
All right. Well, let's jump in.
Yes.
This is might have a whole lot of people don't know why they're here.
Oh, well, let's tell them.
Let's tell them. So we're going to just start this slideshow and we'll get started. Give me 1 second. I have to share my screen first. Sorry. I'll do this one. Now we can do it. All right. Again, thank you for being here. I'm Robert.
And I'm Laura.
And we are Amplify. Not just us, we have a whole lot of people.
We've got, yeah, we've got a lot of people, but we are amplified.
We are amplified. And that is a play on words. It means to amplify, like to lift up. We just spell it wrong so we could have the .com, among other things. But as you can see from the screen, we are really about helping people in their pursuit of health, wealth, and happiness.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about that right now from the standpoint of, we know that everybody here watching, everybody everybody that we know is on a pursuit of happiness. Happiness means different things to different people.
That's true, definitely.
But the 5 things you see on your screen right now are the 5 most prominent or common things that people are pursuing: purpose, love and family,
More
like
money,
we have,
vacation,
better health.
Which one do we have?
Love and family is
love
number
and family.
1. And
We have a lot of family.
Purpose, we have a lot of family. We have 5 kids. Purpose, this is what Amplify is all about. But you can see our commitment is to genuinely help you in your pursuit of happiness. Whatever that means to you, there's other things, obviously, that people are on a pursuit of.
And the one thing that we really want you to understand and know is that we are 100% committed. So here's what our promise is going to be to you, is that we promise to give you all the information that we can tonight to help you understand who we are, what our mission is about. And with that information, you'll be able to make a decision by the time that you finish with this Zoom webinar with everyone. And so just want you to know right up front that we are 100% committed. And if there's anything that we forget to cover and talk about, get with the person who invited you to this at the end of the Zoom opportunity.
And this actually is more of a setup to be a presentation, so people that invited them here can then sort of interview them, see if they're a fit. We're actually calling this now the business opportunity interview.
Very
a little
nice.
Bit new for what we've been doing, because we're really looking for the right people to join our community, which we're going to explain to you now. But getting back to your pursuit of happiness, most of us, especially if we were born here in this country, depending on how old you are, we're led to believe what you can see here on the screen. To get a good education, so you can get a really good job or career, so you can sacrifice your time, which is usually decades, so that you can save up all that time, the money that you make, so that you can finally be happy. Sound familiar?
It is. It's true. I remember thinking whenever I saw a really cool convertible sports car or something like that, I'm like, man, you got to be old to be able to afford one of those. And that was whenever I was a kid. I was thinking that I'm like, oh, whenever I'm older one day, like I'm going to be able to have all the cool things and go on the trips and all this stuff, until my grandparents joined network marketing.
So this sounds familiar, but we've learned the formulas backwards. And that's why we created Amplify, because we learned that happiness actually fuels success, not the other way around. The challenge is this: we're in an epidemic, actually a bunch of them. And the main one we have globally, actually, but especially here in North America, is we have an unhappiness epidemic. You can see here on your screen. I don't know if you knew this. I learned this a couple of years ago, but 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 is on an antidepressant.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is pre-COVID, these statistics, but that's 18% of the US population. 40 million Americans are on some kind of antidepressant or anxiety meds. Why? Because they're depressed.
They say that it's 3,764 kids attempt suicide in the United States every day from the ages or the groups from 4th grade to 12th grade as well. That's a lot of kids that are unhappy.
Well, again, over the age of 12, it's 1 in 8. So it's an epidemic in staggering proportions. We don't have the numbers yet for 2020,
right,
which we know they have skyrocketed. So this is something we created the company to combat. Another epidemic that you may have heard of is what we call the weight loss epidemic, and sort of a play on words again. It's really we're losing the battle to the challenges we have with obesity and being overweight. In fact, it's almost 50% of the US population that's in the demographic of obese. And we know that a big part of that is what we call SAD, the standard American diet today, with its excess sugar and refined carbs and really bad stuff. I mean, pretty much everything you buy that's frozen or is processed isn't good for you, that leads to the epidemic that we're in today. And when you don't have to be obese, by the way, to have extra body weight that leads to unhappiness, leads to the other things and causes. And if you go down the path of poor diet long enough, then that leads to dis-ease. And then the third epidemic that we are grappling with, if you will, is the epidemic of viruses and infections. And this has been big the last year and a half, obviously, but this is about viruses and infections that have been, part of the human challenge for
a very long time. It's not just been, recently. It's just things are more talked about. The flu has been around for a very long time, and 100,000 people die from the flu every year, or they had been. So there's a lot of things that people just weren't aware of like they are now, I believe.
Well, yeah, it's been an educational journey for all of us to learn about viruses and noroviruses. You see 4 of the common viruses that we deal with here in the US. We've heard this coronavirus vernacular, but coronaviruses have been around for a long time. I mean, it's on the can of Lysol, right? You can see on the screen that, the coronaviruses in general have been around for a long time. And other things like the EBV is very common. And there's a whole lot of others. The point is, we're dealing with a lot of it right now. And so we wanted to, show these 3 elements that go on in life today that you're probably dealing with 1 or 2 or all 3 of them, if you're human. And so our mission is really to try and defeat unhappiness and help people get healthier and wealthier and continue in the pursuit. And like Laura said, our mission and commitment is why we created Amplify. So a little bit about us. We've been doing this a little while. I've been in this profession as an owner this is my 20th year. And
happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you. And you're 3rd generation.
Yeah. Yep. I was raised in this.
In the direct selling business model, for those of you that are new and joining us for this live interview. Bottom line is, we've been doing this for me, almost my entire adult life. I've been in marketing my whole entire life. And so has Laura, and she's done some fantastic things in general. She's been been on Cupcake Wars because she owned her own bakery, and everything she's done has been successful. It's why they call her Wonder Woman. True. But anyway, it's really not about us. It's about the people that we have and who we're in business with. We have a small army of what we call resellers, national resellers, that are VIPs, that are the people that invited you onto this into this conversation. And as you can see here, we're blessed to have maybe one of the most robust scientific advisory boards I've ever seen in any health and wellness company or this distribution model. And a few of these people are the reason why we have the products we're going to share with you and tell you a little bit about it. But it's an incredible opportunity for all of you, because we have on a daily basis, sometimes 7 days a week, we have interaction with our board. So incredible that we have this team of people. So let's get to the top of how we are combating the first of the epidemics, and that's the unhappiness epidemic. I didn't know this until we launched the company, that over 90% of our serotonin actually is in our gut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't either. I wasn't aware because it's something that's not talked about. Because whenever you deal with things like depression, anxiety, and mood swings and things like that, most physicians and people in general will start to diagnose and help with the symptoms, but they're not getting to the root cause. And maybe it's just a lack of knowledge of these things, which is something that we're really fighting to get out there, is more education. And so whenever 95% of your serotonin is produced and lives in your gut, then that's one of the things we've got to figure out how to repair and fix that issue of why it's not staying there, why it's not actually, producing enough right now. And we figured out it's because there's this thing called leaky gut.
Well, before we get to leaky gut, let's talk a little bit more about that mood amplifier, serotonin. It's your mood regulator. It's what really
your happy hormone.
It's one of your 4 happy hormones that your body naturally would produce. But a lot of us, if we have poor gut health, and that's about 95% of the US population has this leaky gut syndrome. But especially when we start getting into middle age, the serotonin deficit is huge, especially in middle-aged men. So
you're saying men are cranky when they're older?
I'm saying that if middle-aged men have poor gut health, and most of us do, we can be a little cranky. But I learned more about the leaky gut syndrome. Again, 95% of the US population has it. I know I had it, and I'm sure I'm not completely healed, or it takes decades of this standard American diet to create the damage that leads to disease. But you can see here on the screen, I didn't realize how many of the things that I was dealing with were because of my poor gut health.
Yeah.
I mean, I had headaches all the time. I didn't really know what brain fog was. I really got a dose of it, dealing with that virus I had to deal with. But bloating and constipation and fatigue and sugar cravings, big one for me. For a lot of people, you don't realize that about 100% of your sugar cravings are coming from your gut that's losing the battle in the microbiome to the bad bacteria. You have good and bad bacteria, I'm sure you've heard, in your gut microbiome. And when the bad bacteria is winning and you have leaky gut, you're craving those sugars. And then you're accommodating the cravings. That's what they call comfort foods. And then you're eating all the wrong stuff at all the wrong times. Usually my cravings for chocolate would be like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, about the worst time to go get a piece of chocolate cake. The point is, that's what another aspect of weight gain is when you have leaky gut syndrome.
Yeah. So I come from the opposite side of that. And that is, I was told I have autoimmune disease. I have lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia. I had juvenile arthritis as a young teenager. And I never once heard it was leaky gut. Nobody ever tells you why you have what you have. And I would ask all the time, just like, why? Well, how did I get this? What does it mean? Because and I'm not sure if many of you know what lupus is or some of the things that go along with lupus. One of the things is brain fog, memory loss. You do have a lot of fatigue. Joint pain is massive. You can have skin rashes. I would get ulcers, they call them, in the back of my, on the back of my tongue, inside my nose, sometimes my ears. And my serotonin, which is my happy hormone, was really low because I couldn't really function very much. And so they would put me on so many different medications. And I remember there was one specific time where I felt like I was really giving up and depleted. And the doctor had said something about, he let it slip that it was leaky gut. I was like, well, what's that? And I was like, leaky gut. I was like, well, is that what I have? He's like, well, that's what autoimmune is. And I was like, okay. And so that's how we started the journey on figuring out something to help with that.
Well, let's talk about that. So this is the first challenge that we're trying to overcome is unhappiness that has to do with all of the attributes of leaky gut or poor gut health. In Laura's case, and in so many people's cases that we have now interacted with that have so many different similar or other challenges. Almost all of it originates from poor gut health and leaky gut. So when we went on this journey to try and heal Laura, we discovered butyric acid in the form of tributyrin. And we went out and got the exclusive and then built our own formula. And that's what you see here on the screen as BioMyX. Yeah. And so that was the beginning of it. And what you see here is really what we call our gut health triad, which is the single greatest gut health product line in the world. We have literally no competition in any health and wellness capacity. But I just want to explain to you the essence of what we're doing and the essence of how your body works really quick. And that's the arrows that you see here. You see, your body would normally produce the chemicals and nutrients needed to keep your gut healthy if and only if you were eating the right nutrition. And in this case, we're talking about fiber. And the fiber we're talking about would be in the form of vegetables for the most part. So you would have to eat about 10 to 15 cups a day of natural vegetables, mostly green, to create enough fiber. And what happens when you eat, when most people don't, right, eat anywhere near that. But if you did, what would happen is the digestive process of those vegetables would turn into what are called short chain fatty acids. And those short chain fatty acids would lead to your body naturally producing what's called butyric acid, and we call it tributyrin because we have 3 forms of butyric acid. And so it's like our product would be the equivalent of a hack. In other words, we're giving you what your body would normally and naturally produce if you were eating right, and none of us do. We're giving you the outcome of that in the form of a gel cap, a couple gel caps a day, and you're getting what your body needs from the standpoint of the outcome of eating those vegetables. But that's just a part of it. Then we went out, and this is again part of our scientific advisory board. We brought in a doctor named Michael Epitropoulos, and he had been healing people for 16 years with another
restoring and repairing people
with what are called nucleotides. And these nucleotides, similarly but not the same, help the healing and reversing of damage process, mostly inside your cell in the RNA and DNA. Again, your body would normally do this if you had proper nutrition and a healthy microbiome and healthy immune system. So the Happy Tides, we have 3 flavors actually. The one you see on the screen is citrus. We have chocolate and acai. I know your favorite is acai, mine is chocolate. And then Happy Humol sort of rounds out this triad, and Happy Humol has 4 of the strongest antioxidants known in the world together. So these 3 products individually are unique, one of a kind. You can't get them anywhere else, but together they're revolutionary. So to learn a little bit more when you're done with this presentation, you can go to everybodyneedsthis.com. And there's an 18-minute video from one of our doctors, Dr. Eric Naputi, that tells you all about these 3 products and what they do and how they work and why everybody needs this. That's why we.
Well, the truth and the fact of the matter is that even if you were sitting there eating 15 cups of leafy greens and vegetables, the problem is that there's so many chemicals and pesticides on our food and in the air we breathe now, in our water and stuff like that. So there's no way anymore for us to be completely toxin free and get the right amount of nutrition that we should be able to get from our vegetables and things like that. So having something that supplements and helps give you these things is so, so important.
So what we've learned is we have this triad that you see here, and it's really helping in the process for your body to reverse the damage that you have incurred over years or decades with the standard American diet and the toxins and the stress, #1 killer, #1 most addictive drug, sugar. How much of that are you consuming? So even when you consume the triad, you're still not getting the nutrition because most people don't necessarily change their diet. And in some cases, you should if you're eating really bad, but the triad is a supplement to help you do the things that we're talking about. But we're getting ready to come out with the nutritional aspect of what you really need in the form of literal nutrition. And so this product's launching November 1st, called Earth. And literally it's because it's from the earth. It's all natural. It's multiple products in one. Too long to list here or talk about, but here's the essence of what this product is. It's micro nutrition, micronutrients, all in a scoop it's a nutritional drink. So it's really so many things together. The primary thing is it's the nutrition that you would normally get if you were eating right, which none of us do. So the whole point of eating right is for the nutrition for fuel. Well, what we typically do is there's like macros and micros, right? Macros is the calories in, calories out, and the essence of you when you're eating so many calories, that's sort of the macro, but you're not getting the nutrition, which is why we have the standard American diet getting everybody sick and having leaky gut because there's no real nutrition in it. So Earth, the first thing it does is it bringing all the nutrition into your body. But simultaneous to that, it creates a weight loss effect because when you're getting all the proper nutrition, you don't have the same cravings. You're not eating as much. So the side effect becomes weight loss.
Yeah, that's great. My grandma used to say, we eat to live, not live to eat. And so we have to make sure we're putting the right things into our body. And especially now, more than ever, over these last few years, people are more and more conscious of our health. And so we want to make sure that we have the absolute best products available. And I know you guys worked really hard on creating this product right here.
This is a collaboration from, almost all the entire scientific advisory board, along with myself. And it's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this product for almost a year. Developing, knowing that we needed to bring the nutritional aspect into the gut conversation. So it's finally launching. So this is, again, the second epidemic we're dealing with is, the battle with weight. So this is going to be a huge new ammo for that battle, if you will. And then the next epidemic we were talking about is the viruses and infections that are out there. Now, we just launched two incredible products, but the Pure 47,
it's phenomenal.
It by itself, and again, we're not going to go into product detail in this conversation, but we have something very unique in this Pure 47. Many people have heard of silver. There's been commonly for decades, it's been colloidal silver. But what I have learned when we brought in Dr. Gary Samuelson, who's now on the board, who has the patents and the technology to produce this product, and we have it exclusively for the world. But I've learned that there's a big difference with silver, and that is size and shape. And this is spherical nanoparticles. And so what that means is that they're round, spherical, different than the other silvers out there. And they're nano, meaning they're on average about 7 nanometers, whatever the nano size is, much smaller than anything else out there. So size and shape differentiate its ability to get in there. And basically, the short version is, if you see that little virus on your screen, what the nanotechnology does with the silver is it gets into those receptors, the little things that are sticking out of that round sphere right there, those little spikes, those are receptors. And what they do is they go on the bad viruses, they attach to your healthy cells, and then they inject their stuff in. Well, what the silver does is it basically muddies all the receptors so they can't attach to the cell.
That's cool.
It's incredible technology. And immune is, again, the best way you can defend against viruses, flus, any kind of virus, any kind of infection, is to have a healthy immune system. So on top of our triad and our gut health technology and the immune boosting that it has there, we have this immune daily defense that has all kinds of other attributes, including humic fulvic acids and minerals. And so these two things together, along with our nutritional product that's launching, along with the triad, is how we are helping people in their journey to have a healthier, happier life.
Yep, absolutely.
So normally we have some live testimonials, but we thought we would just talk about 2 of them here. We have literally thousands and thousands of them. If you get a chance from the person who invited you here, if you haven't already, have them invite you to the Happiness Gut Connection. We have, 68,000 people. That this is where we have our Wellness Wednesdays, and our doctors talk about what our products do for people. But here's an example.
Of Summer.
Why don't you tell me about Summer.
Summer Edmondson, she's an incredible friend of mine, and her story is amazing. And we didn't really realize how many people really are on PPIs. If you don't know what PPIs are, it's something kind of like a prescription strength Prilosec. So people that deal with acid reflux, GERD. So after 22 plus years of being on PPIs and experiencing severe GERD and acid reflux, the swelling in her esophagus had gotten so bad that it was basically constricted. So there were times that she couldn't swallow food or liquid. She would actually choke on her food. Can you imagine not being able to eat because your esophagus is so swollen that it won't allow you? She said, during the episode, I wouldn't be able to talk or get watered down. And just a few short months later, I was introduced to BioMyX. Life-changing for me. And with the addition of the Happy Tides and the Happy Humal, I can happily report I very rarely take anything for acid reflux. I had no issues with swelling. I have more energy. I sleep better. I feel better overall. And she's lost over 30 pounds now.
It's incredible. When I was blessed to be able to interview her and her significant other, Doug. And when she told me the story of what she would do at like restaurants, she would literally get up and go to the restroom and like
give herself a Heimlich.
And like her own Heimlich, because she was choking on the food she just ate because it was so inflamed or tight or whatever it was, just from acid reflux. And Colleen had been on having challenges with acid since she was a little girl. And by the time she was in her 20s, she lived on Tums. And by the time she got to her mid-30s, she was on Prilosec, and then she graduated to the prescription level of Prilosec. And what you're talking about, PPIs, is a proton pump inhibitor. All those acid reflux drugs that are over the counter, the stuff you can buy anywhere, is if you have heartburn or acid reflux, that means you have leaky gut. And you can tell from these stories of change that people are going through. In Colleen's case, I think it was on the second day that she took BioMyX.
She got it
she stopped
in the afternoon. Yeah, she took 2, and then she went to sleep. The next morning, she didn't wake up and take her Prilosec.
And she had been on Prilosec for 25 years before last year when we gave her the BioMyX. Actually, it wasn't BioMyX. It was when we first got introduced to Tributyrin, before we created BioMyX and we added A, D, and K. Right. She was on the Tributyrin we had originally tried, and that Tributyrin alone is what got her off that prescription pipe. But here's the thing I think about with Colleen and Summer and all these people that had to deal with this stuff before they got on these products is, imagine the damage that that the Prilosec did to her 25 years of taking this drug, prescription level. So she's had, to this day, she still has to, reverse the damage. And when it takes 25 or 30 years to create the damage, it doesn't, go away overnight, but incredible stories.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting when you can start to see improvement in your body. And the difference is in our products than other types of company products, because, I've been around this for a long time, like as have you. It's different. And these aren't typical products you would find in a normal direct selling company. But without stories like Summer's and Colleen's, it would be very hard for these to just sit on the shelf. And you wouldn't get those personal stories. You wouldn't understand what they do for you and why it is so impactful. And so we really believe that, word of mouth advertising, being able to tell your story to somebody and say, hey, you know what, this works for me. I don't know if it'll work for you, but this is what's working for me, is absolutely incredible. And so the reason that we have these products is because it is personal. It's personal for us. It's personal for the people that are here with us, and we love that. And there's so many more people that we need to help. And so that's what our mission is.
Well, it's actually why, besides our background in this distribution model, we decided to start this company only because of what Laura discovered when we found the original Tributyrin. It was so significant and changed that we decided we had to use this distribution model, because we know the model, but most importantly, what you just said, these products that are one of a kind, you can't get anywhere else, would not do it justice if we took these products, which we could have done, and went and got them onto the shelf of health and wellness stores or Walmart or whatever. We could have done that, but it wouldn't have been the same distribution. It wouldn't have the stories and the change you couldn't build into even TV commercials. Right. So we created this new world business from home business model. What that really means is we do things a little bit different in this distribution model, even though, again, I've been doing this 20 years, and that 20 years, the outcome is how to, do it a little different, I guess you could say. And just for the sake of, for the new people, I just want to share a couple of the things that we do in our distribution model. And that means people come in, like I said, they're national resellers, they work from home. They're their own boss. And here's an example of how they earn an income and a livelihood, is that we pay 25% of everything they sell, whether it's retail. We have a smart ship price, which is a discounted price if someone wants to get it automatically shipped to them. And then there's another attribute of that that's called a retention bonus. So you can actually earn more than 25% if your customers stay on the products. And then we have built a path where people can make anywhere from an extra $500 a month to an extra $5,000 or even more by just simply having a large number of customers.
Right.
The more customers you have, the more
Money you make.
monthly income you can make. And here's the steps to that. We just want to put this quick step. You become a reseller. And the first thing that you do is you make sure you're a product of the product.
Right.
Kind of important, right? It's hard to sell something if you don't actually take it and use it. And then, like we just talked about with Summer and Colleen, and again, thousands and thousands of others, you just tell your story. That's the beauty of this distribution model is it's word of mouth.
Right. And the truth is enough. So oftentimes people don't really think about, well, what's going on with me isn't really that important. I'm like, nobody cares about me. I'll tell somebody else's story. Your story is enough. Because if you have even noticed that, that's weird. I can move my fingers. My joints are feeling much better. That's a big deal to somebody. And there's somebody out there that needs to hear that story. So it's so important to share your own experiences.
Well, it's again, really easy. You become a reseller, you take the product, you tell everybody about it, you invite them onto these interview calls, you send them to everybodyneedstthis.com. And then there's a couple other steps, even though this says 4 and 5, it's really 3 and 4. But I mentioned this earlier, the Happiness Gut Connection Facebook page. That's the third step. You tell people about it, and then you invite them in so they can see all the other crazy testimonials and stories and hear from the doctors. And again, it's an incredible community. And then the last step is you set some goals and you go to work just like any other career or job. You put in the time and energy and sell the products. So that's the basis. There's much more to the compensation program we don't need to talk about here, but we just launched quite possibly the single greatest customer acquisition program in this distribution model, maybe ever. As you can see on the screen, we have two of the gentlemen on our scientific advisory board. Dr. Eric Naputi, you may have heard of him. He's basically the most notorious chiropractor in the country today. And Coach CJ Mertz is the #1 chiropractic wellness coach trainer in the world. So these two gentlemen are spearheading our wellness influencer program, and people have the opportunity to participate in this program and actually acquire customers through this program. So unlike the traditional version of this distribution model, you don't ever have to recruit a single person.
Right.
You can actually go and use what we call the B2B2C. It's business to business to consumer. And you can find the businesses like chiropractors or wellness practitioners or naturopaths or clinical nutritionists like Babette, or anybody that has customers, especially in the wellness profession, patients. So through this model, you just bring those businesses into our business together, and we share our products with their customers. So that's the C, the B2B2C. It's maybe the most profound program there's ever been in this distribution model, in conjunction with, of course, sharing the products with their friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, and going out and do the more traditional.
It solves so many problems because especially being in the wellness industry, as maybe a chiropractor, a holistic practitioner, wellness centers and things like that, they're looking for ways to be able to really have a huge impact on their patients, their customers that come in, and they want to be able to really help them. We have something that can help them. And when it helps them and they see results from their clients, their patients, it not only does it help them with helping more people, because once people are getting good results, they're going to tell others, right? So whenever they are seeing these kind of results coming in through their practice, it creates a really good revenue for those people. And like we said, health, wealth, and happiness, we want to make sure that everybody needs this, that can get a hold of it. And so our job is to make sure that we spread the good stuff that we have to everybody.
So you were invited here. by someone who cares about you. And so here's the sort of summary. Why would you look at joining a community like this? Talk to the person who invited you here, but like we mentioned, we really don't have any competition when it comes to our products. They're one of a kind. We actually call them unicorn tiers because you can't get them anywhere else. As you saw from our scientific advisory board, and we have a incredible world-class leadership team on our executive side. Our compensation model, I showed you a little bit about it right now, but it's best in class. We just launched all new websites. They're state of the art. They're, whereas advanced as any other websites out there in the world today. And the customer acquisition program I just shared with you, nothing else like it. In our community of like-minded people, here's the bottom line on that. You come into this business, you're your own boss, you work from home, hopefully with your significant others. But you're never alone here. We're in this together. Our community is second to none. You can see the capital U in the word community. It's really a unified network of like-minded people. And that's why it's sort of an interview, right? Is the person who invited you here, is looking for the right like-minded people that want the same things that we want. And we'd like to invite you to join us.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to tell you, who this is not for. If you're not looking to help other people, this is not for you. If you're not looking to be able to be a part of something that is moving and is growing rapidly, then this probably isn't for you either. But if you are looking to be a part of something that is growing, then this is a place for you. If you are one of those kind of people who are excited to reach out and help other people, who you get excited for people when they're winning in life, when they're feeling better, then this is a place for you. And we would invite you to be a part of this. So whenever you go through this interview process, you want to make sure that you understand the reason that there's an interview is because we want to be with people who want the same things, people who want to make an impact in this world and who really do love it when people win and they feel better. So if that's you, then welcome to the family.
Thanks for being here. And we look forward to meeting you sometime soon.
Have a great night. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.